Right, Argala. So, what is Argala?
Interventions and translate.
Nah, forget those translations. Absolutely throw out those translations, they will only confuse you.
Them.
Yeah, they're not good enough anyway. So, imagine this. You have a gate, okay? Or a door. Now, you want to close the door, right? So, to close the door, you'll put a pin in. That pin is Argala. You can use that pin to open the door, and you can use it to close the door. Argala is the ability to open or close that door. That is Argala. Very simple, isn't it? That way you can open and close everything in your chart. Everything in your chart will be decided whether you can open or close that pin in the door. Because that pin decides either you'll open or you'll close. After you open or close, you can walk through the door. Or keep it closed. That is Argala. And we're going to study how to open and close these doors. Because if you know how to open a door, you can walk through it. If you know how to close it, you can protect yourself from something bad. Virod Argala is, the pin is closing. Argala is, you've opened the pin. Now, we have to decide with how many fingers you'll open this pin in the door. That we'll get to later. So, houses involved in primary Argala. Treat the first house as Lagna. Treat any house as Lagna and see Argala from it. You will start with first house. The first house itself, whichever is the Lagna or first house, does not give Argala to itself. You must remember. The second house gives Argala, and the 12th house gives Virod Argala. The 4th house gives Argala, and the 10th house gives Virod Argala. For a very simple reason. In the 2nd house you're eating, and in the 12th house you're fasting. In the 4th house you're comfortable at home. In the 10th house you're giving somebody else comfort by working for them. 11th house also gives Argala, receiving some gain, receiving some income. In the 3rd house you are forced to try harder to receive this gain or income, and therefore also the 3rd house can give Argala after you work harder for it. Okay? 11th house means you got something. 3rd house means you have to strive. You didn't get it yet. All these houses which are giving Argala are also your primary internal support. Do you know about Tatkalika Sambandha? Well, you'll notice that this is like an umbrella. See this? The houses from 5th to 9th house are like umbrella. Here. So you can actually draw an umbrella here. You can draw it like that. You take actually draw a picture like that, you know, and put a pole. I can do it maybe over here. See? I just take this nice full tip pen. I make it nice. No, don't do that. There we are. This over there. And don't do that. Forget it.
We can imagine it.
Yes. It was so nice, it looked so nice on the laptop. So you just draw a nice umbrella there. This is the umbrella. Everything under the umbrella you can receive. You're supported by that. See, under the umbrella, this is everything. You don't get the first house because this is the pole of the umbrella also. You're holding the pole here. Okay? This is the umbrella itself. Everything outside the umbrella is not supporting you. It doesn't directly support you. Obviously, look. 4th house is your home, 10th house is your work. That's direct support. Okay? 5th house is your children, 9th house is your father. I mean, you'll be lucky if these support you. They may not support you. Mother is forced to carry you in the womb. Father doesn't have to. Okay? This is external. It may or may not support you. But is most likely going to take over what it is you have attained in life. Children will one day take over what your legacy is, right? Right? That's how the 5th house is. Similarly, you have taken over father's legacy. This is the border from 9th to 10th. Your father's wealth became yours. Okay? this is how it works. This is Argala houses. These are primary. These are secondary. Even the first house has some secondary influence. Clear?
Yes.
Concepts. The 11th house Argala is called Labha Argala, gainful Argala. Second house gives Dana Argala, some wealth or food. Sukha Argala is 4th house. With this we enter the concept of Shubha Radha and Papa Argala. Parashara states, Yasya Papa Shubho Vapi Graha Asti Stet Shubhargale Tena Drishte Kshitam Lagnam Prabalya Yopakalpayat. Parashara teaches that Argala can be caused by both natural benefic or malefic planets. And as such, Argala is beneficial for the house. What is he trying to say? Whether it's bad Argala or good Argala, it's Argala. You may have a malefic in second house. It's giving you bad food, but it's giving you food. Eh?
Mm-hmm.
Saturn Rahu in second house. Jail food. But it's giving you food. Jupiter in second house. Very good food. Which is good for your body and healthy for you. Mars Ketu in second house. Burnt food, but it's food. So second house is food. So anyway, any Graha in second house will give Argala to Lagna because it will give food. The problem is Virod Argala. It'll block you from eating. In 12th house it'll block you from eating. You have to give away food. Give away money. So he gives an example. For example, whether Saturn or Jupiter is in the second house, it causes Argala on the first house. And Argala as such is beneficial, indicating that the planet ultimately ends up doing something good and gives what it can based on its nature. The nature of Argala is similar to Drishti. Similar to Drishti. Here we have defined the primary Argala. This most of you know. Yeah?
So it gives on one side, takes away on the other side.
Yes. I'd say put it in this terms. The 4th house is 4th from your Lagna.
Yes.
This is your comfort, right? Okay. The Lagna is 4th from 10th. So it's you giving somebody else comfort. That's easy, right?
Yes.
Okay. Second house is feeding you. You are feeding 12th house.
Because I'm giving to somebody else.
Yes. You are gaining from 11th house. Another person is gaining from you.
Okay.
Plus. This is primarily Argala houses. You should understand it in this way also. The 3rd house has a very special function in all this. The 3rd house can give Argala if there's a malefic. Now, there is a mistranslation which states you need 3 malefics in 3rd house to give Argala. No, you need just 1 malefic. And even if it's 1, the 3rd house will still be battling with the 11th house to win over it to give Argala. So the 3rd house can give Argala. But it's like this. You were given something. Then somebody took it away from you. So then you decided, I want it back. So you fight for it. That's when 3rd house gets activated. So 3rd house malefics will make you fight for it at the Argala. But for that to happen, somebody must first take it away from you. So in any case, if there's any Graha in 3rd house, it'll make you have to fight for what you want. But if it's a benefic, you will choose not to fight.
And what if there's an equal number of planets in 3rd and 11th?
Equal planets in these houses cause bandhana, bondage. That means you don't know whether to do one or the other. Okay? A planet in the 4th house, planet 10th house. You don't know whether to work or whether to stay home. You don't know actually. You're in doubt which one to choose. You really don't know. That's important also to know. People who have that are in doubt. They don't know. They really don't. Choose one, choose the other, they're not sure.
So it's kind of like having malefics on both sides of Lagna. You will most likely end up being locked up somewhere.
Sort of, yes. If it's benefics, it's good lockup.
At home, or if it's malefics, it will be somewhere else.
The primary argala is called pradhana argala. Pradhana. And here we have tabulated these argala and viroda. This was a simple table of what you'd already seen.
Is Ketu a
We'll get to
malefic?
Ketu is a malefic, yes.
Surya as well. Right?
Yes. Secondary argala, samanya argala. Good to note this down. It's called samanya argala. Sometimes you see in the scriptures it says samanya. So you have to know, oh, samanya argala. Secondary argala. The fifth house gives argala by giving you a future. The ninth house obstructs you by showing you the past. The fifth house is quite relevant in this case because everybody's future will be decided from fifth house. If you have one benefic in fifth house, a graha in ninth house can completely ruin your life. Just one graha in fifth house, a ninth house graha can ruin your life. Because you are not able to pursue that path which is your future. If they are not equal, then one is going to dominate. You should let one dominate. It's good. Let one dominate. But if they're equal, it's a problem. Even if you have a graha in fifth house, you should pray it's not a malefic. And by malefics I mean, it should not be a tamasic graha. Tamasic grahas in fifth house obstruct your future. So the fifth house argala can also be a bad argala on you. Okay? For example, if Ketu is in fifth house, you have no plan for the future. You've not made any clear plan. Because you're supposed to be without a head. No plan, no head, no plan. You may argue that if Jupiter associates with Ketu, you will have a head, so you will have a plan. Okay? Sun can also give. No. If Saturn is there, you don't also know exactly what you'll do in your future because you're not motivated to have any future. You don't have any motivation. And Rahu finally, you have lots of plans, but you're really bad at implementing them. You don't know how to implement.
So it's all thinking, no action.
Exactly. All thinking, zero action. And even that action is not directed in the right direction. Why? Because instead of starting with step 1, you're starting at step 5. That's what Rahu in the fifth does.
And Mars in the fifth?
Mars in the fifth. Mars in the fifth is good to some extent. In that, yes, you have a plan. Yes, you have a head, but it's bad. It's a bad advice, but you're following. Mars in fifth, bad advice. You should be careful not to listen to bad advice.
What if these malefic planets are assaulted?
Then it is okay. Because eventually that means Vishnu will bless. It does not mean it wasn't bad advice from the beginning. Vishnu will eventually bless.
Just about Shani, is it because a person is too much into past or because very unclear?
You'll decide based on what Saturn is in the chart. For example, it can be because of disease, it can be because of depression, it could be because of demotivation, being lazy.
Yeah, that's...
Okay.
That sounds...
So in this regard, we see laziness and slowness as the same thing because there's a slow graha, right?
Depends
Saturn
what
in
is
different places can do different things. Okay. Sometimes he is lazy, sometimes he's just slow.
Hardworking. Yeah.
Okay. Saturn can also be very hardworking. Yes. But in the fifth house, what you should be looking for is an issue with motivation. In your overall, the issue is motivation. The ninth house can be obstructing the fifth house and give a very good direction. This is key. Even though the fifth house is malefic, the ninth house can save the fifth house. So is this obstruction of the ninth house bad? It need not be bad. Instead of listening to the advisors who are your supporters, you will listen to the elders who will guide you. Saturn in fifth house, Jupiter in ninth house. Listen to Jupiter. It's good for you that that obstruction is happening. That's good. But Jupiter in fifth house, Saturn, Rahu in ninth house. Big problem. That good advice of Jupiter in fifth has been completely obstructed by some past karma or some bad advice from advisors, elders. Okay? So this fifth, ninth house is key because it's helping you to take your first step out of your comfort zone. See this? The Pradhan Argala is your comfort zone. And this fifth house is your first step towards Raja Yoga. First step out. These fifth and ninth houses are your Lakshmi Sthana. These are Lakshmi Sthana. You don't get them by staying at home. You don't.
Because it's just that easy.
Okay. So, you have to go to the fifth house or go to the ninth house. See how Argala is very intimately connected with the houses. It's intimately connected with the concept of these houses. Now sixth and eighth house, the peculiar ones. Why isn't eighth house the obstruction? Why is sixth house the obstruction?
Because sixth house is flows Shadripo and eighth house is transformation, maybe.
But eighth house is Nija dosha. Eighth house is from past life. You've got Nija dosha from past life. Sixth house is this life.
Mm.
So why shouldn't eighth house be obstruction?
It's longevity.
And because
So because it's longevity, it should be good for us.
It
Benefit.
is good for all, yeah.
That's a very good point. Would you say that?
yes, and I would maybe with risk of saying something wrong, add that even though 8 is Nija dosha, the Shatripus that we pick up in this life can be even more detrimental than the Nija dosha that we will come with.
Because if you have ripus, you cannot overcome Nija doshas.
Yeah, exactly.
That's right. The idea is you're born so you'll overcome these Nija doshas. These 8 houses there for you, not against you.
And anyway, that's the whole point of incarnating, to overcome problems or problems.
Yes. See, this 8th house is not so big a problem, such a big curse on you. Why is the 8th house there? The rishis are seen from 12th house, and the dharma of the rishis is the 8th house, to show you your nija doshas. The rishis are showing you your nija doshas so you can overcome them. But you cannot overcome this 8th house of nija dosha if your weaknesses are so strong that you can't even pick up where you left off in last life. So 6th house is an obstruction based on this. 8th house wants to transform you. It's good for you. Samanya Argala, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th and 9th houses. But 7th has a peculiar influence. Are we getting to that now? Almost. An example.
How do you pronounce his last name?
Aurangzeb.
Sorry, that's his name, of course, not last name. The emperor.
Aurangzeb. Dennis, tell me the Argala on his Lagna. Which grahas give Argala? Which houses give Argala? What is his Lagna?
His Lagna is Aquarius.
Very good. So, tell me first Pradhana Argala.
That's the 2nd and 12th, right?
Alright, yes.
It's Rahu in 12th.
So, is it Rahu giving Argala or Viroda Argala?
Below
Viroda. Correct. Next. There's more.
Yes.
Agnyam?
4th house is beneficial Argala with moon and Shani. The
Yes.
obstruction is from 10th house. For the 4th house, obstruction is coming from the 10th house.
Yes. Any grahas there?
In 4th,
In 10th?
No.
So Saturn and Moon give him Argala, yes?
Yes. Supports him.
Okay. Anybody, any other Argalas, Maya?
Shukra.
Venus is giving Labha Argala, 11th house Argala. Is obstructed? No. Okay. Sandeep, Samanya Argala on Lagna, secondary Argala.
Sun and Mercury.
Are they giving Argala?
Viroda then.
Viroda. Correct. Okay. Diego, can you tell me the remaining Samanya Argala?
Ketu, 6th house.
Ketu in 6th house. Is it Argala or Viroda?
Viroda.
Correct. We're going to examine 7th house in the next slide. Then will be Mutlustruct. I've covered everybody. So 7th house is the most toughest Argala. Okay. So, now we've done that. Now tell me, Gatika Lagna. Okay, Mutlu. Gatika Lagna, Pradhana Argala, primary Argala.
5th house.
5th house is where Gatika Lagna is. From it,
Ketu giving Argala and Shani and Moon Viroda Argala.
exactly, very good.
And Sun, Mercury from 5th, giving secondary Argala.
Yes,
And there is no other. Third from GL is Malefic, Mars.
yes,
Mars giving Argala and no Viroda Argala.
yes. But Mercury, Sun, which you're giving Argala are obstructed by Jupiter.
And
Yes.
Jupiter,
Yeah. Anything else
Bless you.
from there? Gatika Lagna?
Gatika Lagna.
Anything else?
8th house is Rahu.
8th house is Rahu. Good.
There is no 6th house Viroda Argala.
Good. Good. Dennis,
Yes.
which are the common grahas giving Argala to both Gatika Lagna and Lagna?
I must admit I was out for a second.
That's good. Are you telling me?
Well, I was going to say moon, I'm showing you, but that's wrong.
It's obstructing.
That's wrong. It's okay.
Ketu.
Yes,
It's in 6th from the Lagna.
yes.
So it's not the common factor. Yeah?
Then I must draw a blank right now.
Rahu.
Rahu is obstructing the Lagna, but is giving Argala to Gatika Lagna. So still nothing.
No.
None.
Sun and Mercury.
Give Argala to Lagna, but not to the... No, give Argala to Gatika Lagna, but not to Lagna.
Viroda.
So where's the connection?
Do I see no? I'm not sure what no, it's obstructing the Mars.
Now, one step further. Tell me in more precision, what is this Argala and Viroda on Gatika Lagna? What is this? Tell me, what do you think it is? Where is this coming from? 4th house from Lagna, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
What does that mean? What does that tell you?
Environment, house and
Land.
property, land,
Land,
kingdom,
Property, yes, kingdom, mother.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
People
Good.
also is an emperor, moon is
Moon,
also
people, alright, Moon is
Yes.
exalted.
good, bad, sun.
What is this?
6th house.
6th house from Lagna?
Sun Ribus.
Venus.
Weakness, Shadripo,
Enemies.
something more.
Enemies.
Headless
This is
enemies.
enemies.
Yes.
So what is this Saturn and Moon doing?
They're fighting his enemies.
Fighting the enemies to keep his power. Because what is this? Gatika Lagna is here. This is his power. Second from as Ketu, giving him power. But if it gives him power, it is his enemies. So if this obstructs the enemies, it is the land which is gaining. And this is having unobstructed Argala and Lagna.
Again, slowly the last bit.
Yes. One more time. Good you ask me, good you stop me. Because now you have to be on your toes. You have found here that from Gatika Lagna, this Ketu which is giving Argala is really an enemy. Yes.
Yes.
So if this Saturn or Moon obstructs this Ketu, isn't this good?
Yes, because then he gets to keep what he has.
Then he gets to keep what he has. And what he has is not obstructed on his Lagna. Isn't this Saturn Moon gives unobstructed Argala to Lagna?
So his people love him. As long as they keep his enemies at bay, they'll keep loving him, he'll keep having his power.
So you have a peculiar situation now, in that this Saturn and Moon is pushing out this Ketu, and at the same time giving him property.
Okay, can I ask just if there's an obstruction, it's obstruction on for example, 12 Baba is abstraction for Lagna. So here this Shani and Chandra are abstraction for his Gatika Lagna.
Yes,
Right?
yes. So that means he has to do some 12th house activity with his power. And if he does that 12th house activity with his power, this Saturn and Moon contribute to his power and keep his kingdom.
So you have to give something to his subjects.
It's like this.
But also,
Who said that fasting is bad?
Okay.
Alright? Fasting is also good. Right? I said one is eating, one is fasting. Immediately second house is good and 12th house was bad. How about meditation? It's also 12th house.
12th house.
Yeah, okay. I said it's better to have one malefic in 9th house obstructing than one malefic in 5th house giving argala. That is how you should think. This Saturn and Moon is actually helping him keep his power, and this Saturn and Moon is his property. Because he's in 4th from love.
on the other hand, those Saturn and Moon are giving Labha, I think the word Argala on Ketu, which is actually obstructing
Committing
the
a lot of genocide.
Lagna.
So you mean to say these are contributing to Ketu, and
Yes,
Ketu is
Ketu is
okay.
obstructing.
Okay, okay, that's a good point. Now I will say this: does Ketu have anything to do with the self here?
The self.
We have been analyzing Lagna, which is ourself. Gatika Lagna, which is ourself in matters of power. Hora Lagna, ourself in matters of wealth. Is there anything here to indicate ourself, to treat it as Lagna?
No.
That is why we're not treating this as Lagna to analyze Argana. Unless for one particular purpose only. Which I'll get back to. Okay.
Was he a very famous emperor, this guy?
No, he's famous because he's committed a lot of genocide.
Oh, so he's famous.
Famous for that.
Famous for
Infamous.
genocide.
Yeah.
Infamous.
Infamous is more appropriate.
He wanted to convert the whole of India to Islam.
Well, he failed, obviously.
So it's probably Ketu, the headless Ketu, on the other Hindus and Sikhs that are fighting back.
Nobody stopped him. The Sikhs did
The Sikhs. Yeah.
hinder him. Badak. They didn't stop him.
Mm.
He died in old age. Why? These enemies of the nation, which are indicated by Ketu, some very spiritual people.
Mm.
He had blocked them from taking his power. Ketu's giving Argala. This is bad Argala. They would take over his power. Saturn Moon obstructed him. This is Saturn Moon. This Saturn Moon is his wealth. It's his wealth. So his wealth is taking care of the enemies, and in turn ensuring he keeps power. His land.
He's actually building his power based on his enemies. Producing enemies would make him more powerful and powerful.
That is
That's how
also
he
a
built
very good.
his career.
That's a good
or something.
inference. A good inference, yes. So you see, when we started analyzing from a second point in the chart, we got a different picture. A picture which is more dynamic. It's more real. You know, it's not just, oh, Saturn Moon is contributing. Oh, yeah, here's a big land. What is good? What is good about this land? It keeps away this Ketu. From his perspective of power and what also wealth. From this perspective, this Ketu, which is his enemy, is going to come in and influence his power. If this Saturn Moon obstructs this Ketu from that perspective, that Saturn Moon is his land, which is good for him. We're going to do some more like this.
Okay. He is very smart, no?
Why?
He's Guru on Lagna. It's a good position.
Very religious.
Mm.
Excuse me. So, he's very religious.
About killing people.
And
We
very,
didn't feel that, yes.
and very skillful as well, no? We discussed that Mercury, Surya, that Buddha Surya Yoga. He has that combination in 9th house. Okay, it's in each other, but it's still very
He
skillful.
killed his own brother to come into power and imprisoned his own father. I'm pretty sure that's what he said.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Wasn't he the guy who built Taj Mahal, no?
No, not
I think that
I
was.
didn't ask your girlfriend yet. Did not ask your girlfriend yet.
Now.
No, I'll ask for later.
Now. Calm down. Oh, that's great. So we have Pradhana, Samanya, and we have Tertiary Agala. I don't know the name for this Agala. So let's see. What does it say? This Agala occurs over the first and seventh houses. Wherein which the first half of the first house gives Agala, and the first house of the seventh house obstructs it. Similarly, the second half of the first house obstructs, and the second half of the seventh house gives Agala. So the seventh house is divided into two parts, the visible and invisible portions, from which we can derive the Agala. Herein, we also take the first house and the seventh house and divide into four portions. And this has a concept which is related to how Argala in the various parts of a house can obstruct or give Argala.
How do we calculate whole Rashi or starting from the Lagna
Whole
point?
Rashi.
Whole Rashi.
Or Rashi. This division by 4 is relevant. Is it coming up on the next slide? No. Okay. This division by 4 is relevant because you can take a sign, let's say your 10th house, okay? And you can divide that sign into 4 parts and place the grahas in these parts. And do the same with the planets, or say the sign in the 4th house, which is supposed to be a mutually obstructive house. Either 4th house gives Argala or 10th house obstructs. 10th house can try and give Argala, and 4th house can in turn keep you home instead. So, it doesn't work the same way as this table here. Or does it? No, I don't think so. But, oh, it does. Great. If there's a graha in the beginning of the 4th house, in the first 7.5 degrees, then the graha in the last 7.5 degrees will obstruct it. Based on which you can say if it's 100% obstruction, 75% obstruction, 50% obstruction, or just 25.
So what if there's only one graha in a house?
Then there's no question.
This is used when there is more than one graha.
This is used, well, let's say there's one here and one there. One in 4th, one in 10th. Then you see how much is one obstructing the other.
Depending on the degree.
Exactly. And this
No.
table will work for that.
That's what I meant. Let's say that you have 2 grahas in 10,000, 4 grahas in 4th house.
Well, then there's no question.
Or an equal number of more than 1 graha in one house, 2 and 2 for instance.
2 and 2 means there is a jam. We only use this in jams, you know? When we can't decide who's the winner, one or the other. When we cannot decide, then we use these tables. Okay? One in 2nd, one in 12th, one in 3rd, one in 11th, one in 4th, one in 10th. Then we use this table to be sure how much obstruction is there. Is it really obstructing? 25% obstruction? 75%?
What do we consider a real obstruction? More than 50%?
Obviously. Even 50% is big.
What do we not consider obstruction?
25 is still obstruction, but it's not major.
But can you
Get
say,
around it.
can you say that in one house, one Argala house, beneficial Argala, there is 2 planets, and on the other side there is 1 planet who is actually creating. No, we can't.
No, it can't. Has to be equal now if we're going to use this table.
Equal.
Even then, I should say, a good astrologer, if he sees, let's say, terrible malefic in 5th house, but no planet in 9th house, the gemstone of the Night Lord will completely obstruct the 5th house.
And
That is remedy.
and vice versa.
Ah, yes, exactly. Exactly.
That's why you give.
Give full
Sorry.
again
I didn't
400% of strength.
Let us say there is a graha in 5th house, but none in 9th house. And the graha in 5th house is a malefic, Saturn. Then giving the gemstone of the Ninth Lord will obstruct the malefic in 5th house.
Because you make the 9th house so
So
strong.
5th house malefic. doesn't mean a malefic anymore. Can we
No,
take
he
that?
doesn't get a chance to act. He's still there, but he just doesn't get a
It's
chance.
like placing
You're
the
pushing
Lord.
him out of the church, saying, "Don't, I won't listen to you."
Mm.
That's what you're doing.
And you just
You're doing some nice tantra, putting the devata here. That devata will say, "I will not look at that fellow anymore." That's it. Sorry, Maya.
It's as if placing a graha in ninth bhava to act as
Yes, you're
So
making
get
the ninth bhava
100%.
stronger. That is what you're doing.
If you have a ninth house malefic, but fifth house is empty, vice versa.
You could do the same the other way. Yes, you can. You can. Same thing.
Give fifth house again.
Yes.
Yes, but you have to examine the fifth house and
So-
Lagna Lord relation.
We'll get to that. So,
Pretty standard position here, like somebody have Rahu in the ninth, so it could be remedied by the Lord of the fifth.
It
Yes.
can benefit, usually.
yes,
It's
usually you can.
plus.
Yes.
I got.
Is that the case?
Then is
Yeah.
Rahu in ninth, Jupiter Lord's fifth house. No planets fifth house. Fifth Lord gem. This can almost always be done with gemstones. If you think that the relationship between the Lagna Lord and fifth Lord is bad, or the Lagna Lord and the Graha in the fifth house is bad, don't give the gem.
When is the case that
Give Rudraksha instead.
when is the
Can you
case that
repeat?
If, let me,
fifth Lord is not in good relationship with Lightning Lord?
That's what it's
Mm.
Yeah,
Just-
when is
just
this
a
case
minute.
for what Rashi?
exactly, let me explain. Firstly, to repeat what I said so that you get it down.
Mhm.
If the Lagna Lord does not have a good sambandha with the planet in the fifth house, then don't wear the gem of the fifth Lord or fifth house. Now, sambandha. If the graha, which is Lagna Lord, doesn't like that graha,
What do you mean?
Pachakari sambandha. First Pachakari sambandha. If your Lagna, if the fifth Lord is badly placed from the Lagna Lord, Pachakari sambandha, Marna Karkstana. Number one. Those are the things you should look at. If it is simply bad, Naisargika sambandha, then you should consider giving something other than gemstone also. But you will see that the fifth Lord normally has a good relationship with the Lagna Lord. Normally. Most cases. In fact, I cannot really think of a case right now on the top of my head.
The first case is Cancer and Scorpio, because Scorpio is debilitated. Mars is debilitated in Cancer, and that's the only situation where it is.
And even then they like each other, Mars
And
Sun.
even then they like each other.
So it's really applicable to if there's a planet in fifth house.
Okay.
But I have Ketu in the fifth house.
Yeah, but
Jupiter
you
Lord.
cannot
Sun likes
wear-
Ketu, no
You
problem.
cannot
nice.
wear gemstone of Mangala because there is not in good relation with China.
Naisargika Sambandha, what was this?
Mm.
Naisargika?
Natural
It's
relationships.
debilitated in China.
But
Yeah,
we said in
I
the
know.
third of this.
You cannot wear it.
Yes, like if you have, like in case of Scorpio Lagna, Mars is Lagna Lord, Jupiter's fifth Lord. Mars and Jupiter are naturally friends.
Mhm.
So there's no problem in wearing a yellow sapphire.
The bigger the better.
Okay? Like that. Okay.
How can we decide the Rudrakshas, which Rudraksha will be there?
Whichever house the fifth Lord is placed in has many mukhi.
Mm.
If fifth Lord is in third house, 3 mukhi or 15. I like 15.
That's work for obviously for the future.
Yes.
That is the first point.
Yes.
Future.
Exactly.
Open the door.
Bingo. Now we have to analyze chart of Vladimir Putin.
Can I ask?
Obviously from the purpose of seeing first and seventh house. Yes? Sorry, Dennis.
Can I ask something?
Yes.
This might be a bit far fetched because we know what he's been doing, but like that Ketu in 10th, right?
Yeah.
Could it indicate him being in intelligence service?
If Ketu is in 10th house and Mars has Graha Dishti in 10th house, the person will work in the intelligence services.
Because he was a KGB boss. That was the only thing.
Is it there?
Yes, yes.
Yes, Saruda Lagna as well.
Yeah. That's why he'll be known very well for it. Good.
Which is not so good if you're a spy.
Good.
Well, he's
So.
a spy.
So, by the way, Dennis, can you analyze Ketu's Argala on Lagna and Katika Lagna?
Ooh.
Just tell me. Does Ketu give Argala to Lagna?
No, not really.
Ketu's in which house from Lagna?
Ketu's in 10th.
Is 10th house Argala house or Viroda house?
It's on the other side.
Then how did he become KGB agent? I mean, he worked in it. How would it benefit him?
He got power.
Is Ketu obstructing another Graha's Argala on Lagna? Ketu is here, Rahu is there.
Yeah.
So, Ketu is obstructing Rahu's Argala on Lagna. Is Ketu giving Argala to Katika Lagna or obstructing it? Is it giving Argala?
Giving her.
Is it obstructed or not?
No.
Oh, really? Good. Power, fame, all through intelligence services.
Well, then there must be a lot of former KGB agents in Russia that have this combination because they all got it through that.
Well,
Now you know why. Wasn't that simple?
Yeah.
This is in 10th house. It doesn't give Argala to Lagna, but it obstructs Rahu to ensure it forces Rahu out and gives Argala. Rahu gives Argala, Ketu is obstructing Rahu. If Ketu wins, then Ketu will dominate the Lagna. If that happens, then Ketu's Argala and Katika Lagna ensures power also. And since it's Lord of Hora Lagna, it grants money also and wealth. Even though it's in 9th, but it lords, so it cannot obstruct it. You catch that?
Wow.
Get
No,
to-
the last
and
bit
Rahu-
is-
Oh, okay. You see, I was saying, just as you had concluded, Ketu can dominate over the Lagna by obstructing Rahu's Argala on Lagna.
Yeah.
So that means there's a battle between Rahu and Ketu, and if Ketu wins, it's very good for his work. His work will be having a significant influence on him. And since in Aurangzeb's chart we analyze Katika Lagna, we see also here Ketu has Argala on Katika Lagna, and it's unobstructed. There are no grahas here.
Good. Oh, okay.
To finally add to it, Ketu lords the Hora Lagna.
So the fact that it's strong gives him a lot of money also.
It
Yes.
should be there in second house from the. It's very good.
It even lords the Lagna. So what happened? He got Gati Lagna, he got Hora Lagna, he got Lagna. All through working the KGB. Alright. Now we are supposed to do Sama Saptaka. That means this first 7th house. Obviously this Venus Jupiter. So, Sandeep, can you tell me, this Venus and Jupiter, are they mutually obstructing each other? Or is it 75, 50, 25%? What's going on?
We have to look at the degrees.
Yes. Venus is in 80 degrees. Which Chaturtamsa is it?
Third.
Turn.
Third. Correct.
So it'd be 75% would it?
So among the 4 portions, it's in the third of those 4 portions. Now, analyze Jupiter.
Jupiter's in the fourth.
Jupiter's in the last portion.
Yep.
From 22.5 till 30 degrees.
So it's not obstructing.
So, now Venus was what, 18? It's in the second half. The second half of the Lagna gives obstruction, right?
Yeah.
And the second half of the 7th house gives Argala, right? Just you see this here?
Again, that last bit, could you please?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Here. The first half of the first house is Argala. The second half is obstruction.
Yeah.
Similarly, the first half of 7th house is Argala. I'm sorry, obstruction.
Yeah.
And the second half is Argala.
So it's reversed.
So yes it is. So anything in the second half of the 7th house gives Argala.
Yeah.
So let's go back to
So he
put
have
it.
2 Argalas.
So Jupiter's in that second half, right?
That's
Here.
all there, yeah.
So it's giving Argala to Lagna.
Yes.
Yes. Venus was in the second half of Lagna. So let's go back and see.
Yes, 3rd pada. Yeah.
Second half of Lagna is over here.
Yes.
So there, Jupiter is here,
Yeah.
and Venus is here,
Yeah.
and Venus is trying to obstruct Jupiter's Argala on Lagna. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, you said that in the 7th house, that Jupiter is here.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's in this portion. Or how can he be in this portion? He's supposed to be in Argala portion. That's over here, right? So this should be reversed.
Yes, just in a mirror, but
Okay. It's in this portion. We'll say it's Argala here.
okay.
And we have Venus here.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yes? Trying to obstruct.
No.
No, on the other side.
The other side.
How do you mean over here?
A2, yes.
But what's,
No.
what's this
No,
degree?
it's not.
Ah, that's true. It is A3 supposed to be say A3
It's
there.
fine.
Yeah.
This should be
Yeah.
A3,
A3.
right?
Yeah.
This is reversed, you know?
Yes.
See, this A2 is this, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
This A2,
Something is
Change
wrong
the
with
needle.
that.
this should be opposite, right?
So
Mm.
they're not
So
obstructing
this should
each
be A, not A4,
A4.
A4
and this is correct, right? This
Yeah,
is,
yeah,
Venus
yeah.
should be here, this is over here.
other. Yes.
Yeah.
So, they're not, this is not a complete obstruction, obviously, right?
Mm.
So how will we decide how much it is?
Minus that. Subtract the 2, maybe?
Yeah.
Think about the table for a second.
What are we looking for exactly?
You have to see the percentage. Think a little
Yeah,
bit
so
about this.
one is 75% and the other one's obviously 100%. One is within 75% and one is within 100%.
How much is Venus obstructing Jupiter?
25%.
Was 25%.
How do you see 25?
Because no, sorry, it's not. It's obstructing minus 25 then. Put it the other way around. If you give Jupiter full strength because of its sign placement,
Yes.
on the other one 3/4 of power, Venus.
Who can fully obstruct him here?
Jupiter.
Here, this should be here, right?
Yeah,
Oh.
I'm a bit confused now.
It's because this has to be reversed.
Yes, I don't think.
But the
This
video
has to be reversed. Now you have to just figure out if this is where Jupiter is, and this should be A4, right?
Yeah.
Now, that's over here basically. Okay.
So Jupiter's giving you Argala,
Jupiter's giving Argala, yes.
and
It's like-
Venus is trying to obstruct, but Jupiter is stronger.
Now, if Venus was at the end here, it would be 100.
Yeah.
So it's not at the end, it's just before the end.
Yes.
What is that, 75?
Yes.
That's the answer.
What's the answer?
75% obstruction.
But he still has 25% to his favor.
Yes, he does.
That's what I found.
That's right, correct. Did you catch that?
No.
We did it very simply. At the end of this sign, it's 100%. And here it'll be 100% obstruction. So anything before that will be first 75, then 50, then 25. Okay? That makes sense?
Yes.
So Venus is not at the end, which would be 100. It's just before the end. 75.
Yes, but that is the only that is giving obstruction. Like only half of that Rashi is giving the obstruction.
Yes, yes, yes. But it will
And-
still apply the same.
175 only.
Obviously, yes.
obstruction.
Yes, if it's going to obstruct, it's going to only do either 75 or 100.
Define.
Okay, so there is
Alternatively-
no 50 or
Alternatively, can we do 22.30 minus 18.30 and then find a percentage of that? To find
Not
the
really,
exact figure?
because we don't want to know the exact percentage.
Okay.
We want to know if the person has 0 pada,
Yeah.
or 1 pada, or 2 pada, or 3 pada. The pada is important.
Mm.
The pada will decide how much of the ayana you can pursue. Padas are more important,
Okay.
not percentages.
Yeah.
These
Yeah.
point systems will not tell you much.
Mm.
May I ask, could you please continue to the previous slide?
Yeah.
What if the situation is, for instance, in the Lagna, there are planets in the first half, and
First half,
yes, not the very first pada, but in the first half,
okay.
and in the 7th house, it is in the last half. That
Yeah.
means he's getting two
Two
argalas,
exactly.
and
Yes.
they're not interfering with each
Exactly.
other at all.
Exactly.
So he's taking the best of both
Both.
planets.
Yes, That's right. That's exactly right. Did you catch that?
Mhm.
Yes.
They can have two grahas, one is first and one is seventh, and they're both supporting the Lagna with Argala. Okay.
So what is the result here? Venus and Jupiter are
They
not
both have
malefic.
That means, well, that means that this Venus, whatever it indicates, this fellow is taking half of his strength.
Mhm.
Okay?
But wait,
It's actually obstructing. It could support. We could infer Venus and Jupiter could
they
support
both
each other.
They both support Lagna because they're both in the second. No, sorry.
No,
this
they're
one's
not.
Right.
Mm.
Venus is obstructing Jupiter's Argala.
is obstructing.
Is it
Yes.
obstructing Jupiter's Argala?
Mhm, mhm.
So that means Jupiter will be weaker and Venus will be what, stronger? Is that the
Yes.
interpretation? Or
Yes. Yes. But we must still keep in mind, whatever this obstruction is, because it is Argala obstruction, it implies that Venus does not want to support Jupiter and Jupiter wants a different agenda than Venus. They could have had same agenda, but they have different agendas because of the percentages. Venus is trying to block Jupiter. So what is Jupiter in his chart? What is the Charakaraka of Jupiter?
Money.
no.
Charakaraka? Not Naisargika.
Picture.
Work.
Amatika.
Amatika.
Amatya. Amatya
Work.
means work, career. What is Venus?
Venus is
Hasan.
Picture.
Pitrikaraka. Pitrikaraka means what? Family, lineage, tradition.
Mm.
Do you think he will, do you think, what does this could mean? This could mean that he should start in the family business. Something like that.
I
Pitrikaraka.
think he did actually.
Would his father do the same?
I would guess so. Because
Proposed.
normally you would do
100%
that.
sure, yeah.
If daddy was in the army, then son would go in the army and get
Yeah.
into the
Good.
church.
Good point,
Yeah.
good point. This suggests that something in the family was not maintained. Because the family is not supporting this, which is his career, Amatya Karaka. Right? That's what it suggests. We need a break. It's been 3 times. It doesn't motivate you that you are happy with the break.
Argala from Ketu.